For more on this, joining us now is Kelly McFarland in Washington, D.C. He's the Director of Programs and Research at the Institute of Diplomacy at Georgetown University. Mr. McFarland, thank you so much for joining us here on TRT World.
Thanks for having me.
Turkey began Operation Peacespring late last year, the U.S. had agreed to help create a safe zone in northern Syria, but since then, Turkey's only gotten talk from Washington. What's the reason the U.S. is giving for not having helped Turkey more through this and to see this to the end?
Well, I think it was mentioned earlier, one of the correspondents was talking about the fact that it was a major campaign issue for President Trump to remove American soldiers from the Middle East. And I think things got to a point where he could declare a so-called victory over ISIS in Syria, which allowed him then to, for all intents and purposes, move American forces out of the region where there was fighting going on between Russia and Syria on the one side and Turkey on the other side. So I don't think, I think this is what President Trump wants in the long run, is to remove American forces from that region. Now, whether or not he did that in a good way is another question, but this is what we're going to see from now on. I don't see we're going to see any move back towards this area by American forces, even with the increase in fighting between our NATO ally Turkey and the Russian Syrian forces on the other side.
That's incredibly sad to hear. What do ordinary Americans think? Are they asking members of Congress even to get involved?
No, I mean, I think, initially when there was some immediate pushback and backlash to us pulling our forces out of northern Syria, away from our allies that we were helping in the fight against terror organizations there, you saw some pushback. Obviously, General Mattis resigned as Secretary of Defense in the way President Trump handled the situation. But, to all intents and purposes right now, Americans are worried about the coronavirus, worried about ISIS. So I think they take, whether accurate or not, President Trump's statements that we have defeated ISIS 100%. They are still more worried about ISIS than are what's going on between Turkey and Syria right now.
Well, granted, of course, the U.S. is facing lots of trials right now, but what would be your advice to the Trump administration in dealing with the Syrian crisis? Should the U.S. get involved?
Well, I'm sure the Trump administration wouldn't take any of my advice because it would be going against most of what they have been doing. But I think, first and foremost, Turkey is an ally. The Kurdish forces that we were backing in the area around the border were allies as well. And just the way that we've been treating allies overall, whether or not that's NATO allies or allies in East Asia, has not been good. I think we need to stick by our allies. Now, that doesn't mean that we send in military forces, but I think we just need to back Turkey a little bit more strongly here. But at the same time, make sure that they're not, we're not backing them so much that they're risking escalating things. And nobody wants a shooting war here between Russia and Turkey, excuse me. So I think it's, the U.S. has to walk a fine line here of still backing our ally and backing NATO more broadly without, giving Erdogan and the Turks the backing that they think that they could go to war against Russia or something like that. So.
All right, Kelly McFarland in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for that, sir. Appreciate it.